Well, Tim, thanks for your time. Obviously, there's been an awful lot of interest in this case, I guess primarily because it is so unusual. Could you outline as briefly as you can what you have found in the post-mortems of the two horses that died at Newbury?
Yes, it's not unusual, but very distressing. It's actually the first time ever we've abandoned a race meeting for a horse-related event. Unique, in fact. What we found is signs consistent with electrocution. So I think it's important to follow the trail back. Our course inspector was on course as the electricity company and the racecourse examined the area after the events on Saturday. He saw that there was a voltage recorded in the ground. When the horses went down, not only did the vets report in our inquiry that they felt a tingling, but they felt muscle tremors. So if you combine that with the post-mortem results, which are consistent with the published scientific literature, then electrocution is very likely. Now, what else could have caused it? Well, the broad category is intoxication, which is a POS word for drugs and poisons. We've checked that. This morning we've just had the results from our laboratory, HFL Sports Science, and they've told us that there are no signs of any substances that shouldn't be there. We test for things that shouldn't be there rather than specific substance, so it's a very broad test.
When you say that your inspector was there and registered a voltage, do you believe that this could have been avoided, Tim?
I can't speculate what the cause was. We have course inspectors who are responsible for the safety of the racing surface and the equine facilities. Obviously the public facilities are the responsibility of the racecourse, but he was there. He's told us what he observed in those discussions, and that is the starting point, which has ended up with consistent post-mortem findings by an experienced pathologist at the University of Liverpool Veterinary School.
Therefore, in the most basic of terms, I suppose, Tim, there was a leakage of electricity, which
it would appear so,
yeah,
yes.
which caused the death of these horses. There's been a lot of speculation, inevitably, about where that leakage may have derived from, whether it was an old cable that had deteriorated or whether it had been disrupted by maintenance work carried out at the racecourse. Are you in a position to say which of those is possibly the most likely cause?
Well, all I'm in a position to say is there was definitely a cable there, which may sound very obvious, but is worth saying. There is definitely a cable there. Why it's there, who owns it, its condition, is really a matter for the electricity company and the racecourse.
And there will be, of course, further investigations along those lines.
Very much so. But it should be clear that we've received a clear assurance from the racecourse that it's safe to race tomorrow. Absolutely clear assurance in writing.
Tim, are there at this stage any lessons do you think we can learn from this, or do you simply explain this as an absolute one-off? I mean, the issue that you just raised there about it essentially being safer to be on rubber as opposed to grass, I mean, is that a lesson that could be taken on from this into paddocks in general?
Well, the vast majority of paddocks now have a rubberized surface rather than traditional tarmac. That's for horse safety and welfare. I think you have to be careful not to be complacent, but at the moment I think it'd be safe to regard this as a one-off and very unusual accident. That doesn't mean that the racecourses won't be looking at all such safety things as they normally do, but I think we've got to be careful to keep this in balance and perspective. I don't think we need to be digging up every racecourse to look for buried cables at the moment.